like to call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Moore,
Present.
Councilman Neely,
Present.
Councilman Iacilli,
Present.
Councilman Pell,
Here.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Present.
Thank you. And I move to approve the minutes from the Town Board meeting of April 14th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second was,
Michael.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the communications?
the following communications have been received in the office of the town clerk. We have received from the town of Southold, notice of adoptions, Village of North Haven, notice of adoptions, Village of Sag Harbor, notice of public hearing, New York State Liquor Authority, 30-day advance notice to local municipalities from the listed agencies. Correspondence regarding the following: lighting at public parks, Lola Prentice Park, Village of Southampton, a request for clarification regarding proposed deer hunting restrictions on CPF lands, and Saponic Golf Club 2025 Limited Access Plan Report. The following bid and RFP submissions were received on Wednesday, April 15th. Bid for Southampton Red Creek Park, bid for Tupper Boathouse Rehabilitation for CPF General Construction, Electrical Construction, Mechanical Construction, and Plumbing Construction. And that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
Thank you. I do have 3 walk-ons. The first is to authorize the supervisor to execute an intermunicipal cooperation agreement with the County of Suffolk in connection with the 2026 U.S. Open Golf Championship at Shinnecock Hills Golf Course. The second walk-on, 2026-0791, is the warrant, number 8. And the third walk-on is 2026-0792 to amend a resolution number 1997-0556, waiver of beach permit fees for fire and ambulance volunteers. I move to add those to the agenda.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. And just as a point of clarification on that walk-on resolution that I had to amend the waiver of beach permit fees for fire and ambulance volunteers, that's being walked on because it's a timely thing, and it will, in addition to waiving it for active personnel, it will also allow for lifetime members defined as 20 years or more of active service to receive permits for life.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice. Okay. All right, well, that brings us to the public hearings. There's 5 tonight. Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the first public hearing?
Public hearing number 1, amending Southampton Town Code, Chapter 330, entitled Zoning, by adding new Article 13A, entitled Land Disturbance Ordinance.
Hey, oh, there you are. Hi, Janice.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the board. Wow, that's loud. Thank you for, this is the 3rd public hearing now. We've distributed some changes that have been evolving over the course of these hearings. We have on our website the, different stages of, prior to the public hearing, the changes we made, the public hearing changes from last time, April 14th, and then just a couple of minor changes were also incorporated based on more commentary from the planning board. I don't know if you want me to go over those now, or, yes?
Review the planning board.
Yes. The planning board just had a minor comment. They adopted the resolution last week on April 23rd. They provided the following comments. They recognize that creating a permitting process for land disturbance advances the master plan's core principles of sustainable growth, environmental stewardship, and the preservation of the town's unique community character. Such a process supports implementation of the master plan's vision to protect valuable natural, historic, and scenic resources while ensuring that the community may continue to benefit from its outstanding natural heritage without compromising these assets for future generation. Their second comment was, the town board should consider establishing a town-administered education program to facilitate the effective implementation of the ordinance, to include forums for landscape and building professionals. The third comment was requesting that the land management administrator, who is me, assess the staffing resources necessary to effectively administer this permit and allocate appropriate budget toward these resources. The fourth comment is the planning board supports the adoption of this proposed ordinance and recommends that the existing APOD be concurrently reviewed and amended to ensure consistency. And number five, they made a comment, which we did make that change, which is 330-69.11B2. They were just discussing like the difficulty of, it said the town may require a performance bond. And they said, you know, you probably don't want to get in, it's easier on commercial property than it is on residential, so we just struck that out because we don't want to end up entering someone's private residential property and revegetating. So that was the only change there.
Could you repeat the first one, please? I didn't,
Sorry.
that-
The first whole thing.
no, the first recommendation.
The first comment was about, you know, that they think it's consistent with the master plan. The second comment was administering it, like creating an education program.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was.
And that was just so people know what they're required to do. You know, we can have some kind of forum with professional, industry professionals that we're looking for. Is that it? Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And so at 69.11, we made that change. We also were asked by Councilman Iacilli to make the change of, just to make it easier. We had two sections in 69.6. That was A, residential, B, commercial, and we just melded them together. So it says residential and commercial. So it's all just in one spot. So it's not two separate sections. And last time, you may recall, based on Councilwoman McNamara's comment, we changed land disturbance of any one area or sum total of areas, just so that it was understood.
And 800 square feet on a 20,000 square foot property to 2,000 square foot allowance.
Yes, that was absolutely, that was, we discussed last time.
And
So I'm just
keyword-
talking about any changes from last time to this time. Yeah.
So now it's posted on the website under Town Studies in a new section entitled Pending Legislation, and there are edits in red, purple, and green.
That is correct. That's just so you can see, and then we distributed a final copy, and as you know, the final copy would be laid on your desk for 10 days prior to adoption.
The different colors reflect the different times.
So
that
red
the-
was, right before we had the public hearing, there was a councilman went to different various groups, got input, we made the changes and we discussed that at April 14th. Then at April 14th, some more things came up, and we made those changes. And then right before now, we just got the planning board comments, and we just kind of tightened it up a little bit, and those are the green ones.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janice.
Thank you, Janice.
All right, so we have some cards. We're going to hear from the community now. The first is Jimmy Mack, the president of our Southampton Town Trustees.
Here in support of the land ordinance, land disturbance ordinance. Again, my name, well, good evening, my esteemed councilmen and women, Supervisor Jim, and my dear friend Sunday Schermeyer. Again, Jimmy Mack, current president of the Southampton Town Trustees. I recently sent you a letter of support on behalf of the trustees, but I'm really here as a private citizen to discuss my personal feelings on this matter and to support the land disturbance ordinance, because it's one of my pet peeves. I see firsthand what we do to the land ends up in our waters. I'm here tonight to strongly support this land disturbance ordinance. In my neighborhood, originally called Woodhampton in North Sea, we are surrounded by massive ancient white oaks. But lately I've watched a frustrating pattern. Developers come in and clear cut every single living thing on the lot. They replace our native canopy with non-native bushes and carpets of green grass. As someone who cares about our bays, that's a red flag. Those manicured lawns require heavy fertilizers, which lead to nitrogen runoff that's killing our waterways. We are literally trading our natural water filters, these trees, for a landscape that actively pollutes our environment. Just recently, I saw a spec house where the developer had left 3 beautiful big white oaks standing in front of the house envelope, and I was so excited to see a bit of our neighborhood's character preserved. I drove by the next day and they were all gone. Every single one gone. This ordinance stops that indiscriminate destruction. It defines significant trees as anything 18 inches or larger and requires a permit before they can be removed. It forces a conversation about whether that tree really needs to come down or if the development can work around it. Beyond water quality, these trees are our best defense against rising temperatures. They provide natural shade that reduces our reliance on air conditioning. This law isn't about stopping development, it's about orderly and balanced growth. It protects our neighbors from the flooding caused by radical grade changes, and it ensures that the natural features remain an integral part of Southampton's character. I want to thank the sponsors for recognizing that our environment is a shared responsibility. Let's protect our oaks and our waters. Please pass this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mr.
Jimmy.
President. All right, the next speaker is our former Quogue Mayor, Peter Sartorius.
Thank you, Supervisor Moore. I'm Peter Sartorius, and for several months, I've been the president of the Quogue Wildlife Refuge. I sent over a letter earlier today to the clerk. Did you get that letter, and was that this?
I received one letter that I saw from the Wildlife Center from Marissa. I want to say sent
Oh,
it
is it,
in.
she transmitted it. The
Yes,
letter was
okay.
attached to it. So that, do the board members have that?
Yes.
I don't have it.
We did get it.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
I have it, I read it.
Have it right here. I'll give you a copy.
All right, well, thank you. So the Quogue Wildlife Refuge, just to refresh you, is a 305-acre wildlife preserve and nature preserve, and it's partially in the village of Quogue, it's partially in unincorporated areas of the town of Southampton, and the Southampton Township Wildfowl Association, which is a not-for-profit corporation, owns part of it. It's roughly a third. And our mission is to preserve the property that makes up the Quogue Wildlife Refuge, and then also to provide environmental education. We generally support, not surprisingly, the purposes of the proposed ordinance. But with one caveat, I would like to request that there be a exemption granted to the Quogue Wildlife Refuge, much in the nature of the exemptions to municipalities, public utilities. And, you know, the reason is that the Quogue Wildlife Refuge spends a lot of time maintaining the property, obviously even more so now because of the southern pine beetle infestation, and also clearing the trails so that they're safe to walk on. It would, with the small staff of the refuge, it would, most of the activities would be exempt. I mean, we're getting rid of diseased trees, that sort of thing, but I mean, inevitably something is going to come up that might be in a gray area or something like that, and I just, with the small staff, I just don't want to have them sort of burdened with thinking about whether this ordinance applies to the wildlife refuge, because I think, I mean, your purposes and the refuge's purposes are the same, basically. We want to preserve the woodlands, and we want to
30
kind of
seconds.
minimize the administrative burden on the refuge. And then, I don't know if it'll come up tonight, but I wanted also to mention that there the property at 172 Dune Road, which is, proposed to have the solar, 172 South Country Road, which is in Quahoc, which is proposed to have the solar installation. One of my predecessors wrote the planning board and the CPF
3 minutes.
several years ago, and urging that that property be preserved because it provides a corridor for wildlife to navigate the area from that area through the Water Authority area and over to the Quag Wildlife Refuge. And we think it's an important means for wildlife to get to the refuge and live there. And, we would prefer to see that maintained as it is. It's a wooded wild area.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Amy Paradise. And after Amy, it's Michelle Thompson.
Hi there, I'm Amy Paradise. I live in Hampton Bays. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I've written you letters several times on this issue. I am both a citizen and a member of the Sustainability Committee. As a citizen, after 50 years of messaging, we started with Earth Day. We're still seeing, too many people still see nature as something you go visit, not something we live in, and they just wreck it. And the people come out from the city, and I don't know why they don't just stay in the city. Because they bulldoze everything and put in a pool. I showed you that piece of property up the road. I hear it's going to be a pool and a basketball court. There used to be an owl lived there. I've heard some of the complaints. They don't do this other places. Yes, they do. I looked up 2 or 3 laws just from the state of Virginia, very much like this legislation. Some said it was too vague and needed to be itemized. The problem is you can't itemize nature. Every situation is going to be a little different. You have to look at each one a little different. You can't say it's just, well, you've given a size on a tree that you're going to consider, but it's integrated. You can't really bust it apart into little pieces and always make a uniform description so that everybody's application is exactly the same. And land disturbance seems comprehensible to me to anybody. I mean, you're disturbing something. You're cutting down a tree, you're bulldozing, you're disturbing something. I'm in the uncomfortable position of being on the Sustainability Committee, and a letter was sent, and I was part of the group, and we were halfway through a discussion, and I never saw the letter before it was sent. I want the law passed, because the sooner we do it, the better off we are. The longer it hangs out there, the more destruction is going to go on because people think something is coming. So let's go with what we got and fine-tune it later.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Michelle Thompson. And after Michelle, Keith Hill.
Hi, good evening. My name is Michelle Thompson, and I have spoken before. And as in the past, I want to thank every one of you for your attention to this very, very important matter. And I have listened to people come up and talk about the difficulties of the homeowner and the difficulty of the developer. And I've been giving thought to that. And you guys, from where I stand, have the power. You can fix all of this so that it works for all of us. And I think that maybe, with regard to the homeowner, if when this ordinance is passed, the way it's written, if it's written in such a way for the average homeowner to understand it, that should calm the angsts of a lot of people who are out there feeling like, how the heck am I ever going to get this done because I don't know how it works. So it's all in the writing of it, and I know that this can be done. Regarding the developer, This is a piece that I do not understand. I cannot understand how anybody with a heart can watch these trees be cut down and not have some feeling about it. Cornell offers a course to landscapers so that they can understand the ramifications of what their program is doing to the environment. And maybe just perhaps, as part of the permitting process, we can ask a developer to watch a 5-minute video and get a little bit of a feel for what this is doing to our environment. Just a thought, I'm just throwing it out there. Now, I would like to turn your attention, if you don't mind, to the solar property that is on 172 South Country Road. And if we agree that a tree is precious, then here too, I cannot understand why this is any kind of a problem. It's very clear to me that we need to leave this piece of land alone. A solar farm needs open space, unobstructed open space. Surely we have enough rooftops in the area that we can accommodate this project. Last spring, I attended a town meeting where somebody came up and said that they had done the arithmetic and that if $5 was added to every beach pass, then that would amount to the amount of money the town stands to make by allowing this project to go forward on a yearly basis.
30 seconds.
And lastly, if you would be kind enough to think about your own home, just take a moment and think about your own home and how if you were to go to bed thinking that the trees behind you were going to be cut down and that the value of your home was going to be affected, it would just seem to me that you would have to give that a second thought. So that's what I'm asking of you. Give it a second thought. Think about your neighbors and think about what's morally correct, and the community and your children and your grandchildren will thank you, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. So Keith Hill and then Molly Hill.
Good evening to the board. Supervisor Moore, thank you very much for this opportunity. We'd like to just state for the record in favor of this ordinance, we'd love to see the solar exemption stripped out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You'd like to see what? Molly Hill. Hi, Molly.
Hi. I just want to thank you all for taking attention to this matter. We're very passionate about our area and especially the Quag wildlife, that our home abuts the whole area that they're looking to put the solar farm. And we have many wildlife there, and besides just the Quag wildlife itself, it's just important to us. So we're for the bill, but if you could please take a look, closely at the solar exemption and.
Oh, we
There's no
did
solar
take that
exemption.
out. That was suggested, but we didn't
It
put
was
it
never
in.
in. It was a suggestion.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
never-
okay,
it wasn't
it's never
so,
in, okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. All right, thank you for coming. Mark McIntyre.
If I could ask everyone
Sustainability
to
Committee.
identify themselves when they get to the podium, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening. Mark McIntyre, co-chair of the Sustainability Committee and member of the Town Conservation Board. I admit yesterday's committee letter was a little too quick. This legislation came out in January. It was winter. Some of our committee members were away. They didn't focus on it right away, and it took time for them to digest and absorb the proposed ordinance. Because tonight's public hearing is only 2 weeks from the last public hearing and falls between our monthly committee meetings, we spontaneously created a subcommittee of 6 members, including Amy, with a good cross-section of opinion. We met. We considered letters the town had received on the ordinance and came up with the recommendations that you have. As I see it, there are 3 options before us. One is, of course, disregard the recommendations. 2 is delay the process and incorporate changes that we and others have made. 3 is keep the legislation as is and make reference to additional considerations that warrant further discussion. Regarding the last, I am reminded of the board's adoption of the recent Water Quality Improvement Project Plan legislation. The only legislative change that occurred was changing the eligibility maps. All other mandates were set aside and listed as a set of recommendations for further consideration. As to the substance of our recommendations, we believe the ordinance can be strengthened. Some terms can be defined. Standards for issuing a permit can be clarified to guide town reviewers in making consistent determinations and provide applicants with some prior knowledge of the likely outcome that the town will find practicable. Our committee fully supports this legislation and its goals of curbing clear-cutting and indiscriminate grade changes. We need these protections across the town. The committee is ready to work with the town to achieve them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for that clarification. Did you copy me on your response to that? All right, next speaker is Joy Flynn.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor and Board. I'm just here, Joy Flynn from Quogue, to say congratulations to you for caring and being such good stewards of our environment. It breaks my heart when I see all of the southern pine beetles, what they're doing to our forests. And that's sort of nature because of what we've done to nature. But to see man intentionally cutting down trees without any sense of conscience breaks my heart. So whatever this ordinance can do, nothing's perfect, but that you've taken such a wonderful first step, and I'm very, very grateful for all your efforts. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joy.
Layla Massey, and after is John Lynch.
Hi, I'm Layla Massey. First, I want to say thank you for having the courage to do something about clear cutting and taking all the flack that you probably have to go through because you're trying to do something that's so important to this community and all the towns of the East End. I'm a resident of Jennifer's Path, and like all my neighbors, we're going to be directly affected by clear cutting if this solar installation goes through. And I can't understand how anything like that could have been approved, that we're going to be cutting trees for clean energy. I don't understand that in the first place. The fact that it's 100 feet from my property, and I'll have to live with that for 25 to 30 years at least, if I live that long, is very disturbing, and all that entails. I also know that they'll probably replace all the trees with arborvitaes. And to tell you the truth, I'm sick of looking at them. I can't stand one more tree put up in our community. That's all we have now. Pretty soon we'll be driving down a row of nothing but arborvitae trees everywhere. You know, I was driving past all the old neighborhoods of West Hampton Beach just to take a look at how the houses were built back then, and tree-lined streets everywhere, big oaks, big pine trees everywhere, trees to the right of them, trees to the left of them. And all the new developments, no trees, everything's gone, and replaced by, you know, landscaping that doesn't really do it. It's so sad. I grew up here. I don't want to see this happening. It breaks my heart every time I see giant clear cuts, you know, and I don't want to see it behind my house especially. And it was a bad idea to begin with. It's a bad idea now. I can't understand why we'd put any kind of solar installations in woods. There, like Michelle said, there's plenty of places for that to happen, from rooftops to other land dumps, whatever. I know there are other places that it would be much more suited. I just want you to consider that. when making this legislation that we need protection to. And thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. So John Lynch, and then Jean Teggins.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John Lynch. I just had a question before. I had something to read, but maybe what you said, I can save myself from reading and boring everybody. But is the solar exemption removed from the statute?
Yes.
So
We
that's-
talked about that at the
This
last
was
meeting.
last hearing, we were very public about that.
The fact that nobody still knows what we're talking about is troubling to me.
Well, I'm looking at, exemption, what is it, exemption B11. That's not, that's no
That
longer
was
part.
the old version.
The old version.
It's been stricken in the purple
Okay,
edits.
so there's no exemption onto that. Okay. So that was one of the, we're here, well, I'm here to support, support the statute. We believe it's a very good statute. As an attorney, I think it's something that is needed because a lot of times we have, everybody's talking about this great clear cutting on properties, and it becomes a problem for neighbors where I get calls sometimes, where they're saying they're cutting all the trees behind my house on this property. Is there anything I can do about it? And there really was not until, hopefully with the statute, there's going to be something where they're going to have to have a permit, involved in that. So I'm happy to see that there is nothing in connection with solar, because that would be one of my concerns because of where I live and because of the property at 172 South Country Road that people have been talking about, which, again, if it's not exempt, great, because that would be something that would be very contrary to the statute, that type of mass clearing of trees. There'd be no reason why not to give solar any kind of exemption. They should apply for the permit like anybody else. Doesn't mean they can't do it, but they should have the permit applied and be evaluated. So I won't take any more of your time, but I want to thank everybody for their efforts as far as to putting this legislation through. And I'll just leave a copy of what I was going to read, and I'll just submit it, to Sunday, because she's always happy to read my stuff. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Jean, and then after Jean, it's Michael Kosiar.
Good evening, board members. Thank you for all of the effort and time that you have put into this important issue.
Could you just state your full name for the
Oh,
record?
sure, I'm sorry. Jeannie Tykins, and I live in Quayog. And thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I would like to encourage the board to consider properties that may be beyond stated limits that you have in the current legislation. I'm specifically speaking about 172 South Country Road in Quayog. While I understand the solar piece of that has been removed, the property itself may come up for permitting, and I'd just like to encourage the board to consider that properties that have, that are within a legislative district that was created with a specific purpose to protect Quantuck Bay, Aspetuck Creek, and to serve as a greenway corridor for QWR, Quag Wild Refuge, which this property is. This isn't just any piece of land, and it was recognized as environmentally significant. And this might be a property that falls out of the limits that are being proposed. And I would encourage the board consider those properties that have a specific classification be included to be reviewed. I think properties like this deserve a closer look before a permit decision is made. I think a permitting process simply ensures that the planning board has the opportunity to weigh the environmental costs against the benefits before the trees come down. We've all heard the phrase green for green, the idea that maybe it's a solar farm, whatever it might be, but that the idea that the removal of trees might help the community in some way. I don't think that that justifies a non-review. I think it justifies a review, and I'd like this council to consider it. All of those trees that we are talking about, the properties that we're talking about that have the number of trees, the owl home that we lost, that's a huge impact that you have the ability to at least reduce with review. So I'm asking that properties that have legislative districts that may fall outside of the limits that are being proposed also in some way have an opportunity to be included for review. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you think this is outside of the review? Because it certainly would be more than 2,000 square, 2,000 square feet, so it would be subject to, would require a permit and review.
I thought that there was a limit for 10 acres. I may have misread that.
20,000 square feet
There was
and
something
above.
that somebody had suggested we consider, but we didn't incorporate it into the.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting me chat with you.
That's good. All right, Michael Kosiar.
Michael Koziar's Quiog. I just want to thank you guys. I think what you're putting forth is a great idea, and I'm thankful you took out that solar thing. I just want to commend you on that, and thank you. I also want to reiterate what these guys have said about 172 Old Country there. To clear that land would be insane to me. We don't have enough wildlife and open space as it is, and I hope you consider that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jesse Matsuka. And after Jesse, Bridget Maher.
Mayor.
Good evening, Supervisor, council members. I just want to speak. Oh, Jesse Matsuoka.
Thank you.
And
Gave him a look.
as a business owner and civilian and neighborly person, I just want to speak positively on this legislation. Specifically, I can, speak to the water quality situation of understanding diverting of different waters into different properties. My property alone, I'm actually dealing with that as somebody has created some divergence of water that has now led into my pool. And it fills up every time it rains now. So I'm living proof that this would hopefully help other property owners understand what they're doing and hopefully guide them to understand that maybe you shouldn't do that because it will lead to other flooding in other areas. There are other things that I think many people have spoken today on that I don't need to bring up. I think you're all doing a great job. I think this is a great start. There will be many more additions and changes to come, but I just want to say that we're starting somewhere wonderful, and that's all right. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jesse. Actually, Bridget's here for a different topic. All right, well then, that's all the cards I have. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak at this first public hearing?
Yes, I have 3 hands up.
Okay.
Hey, everyone. Meredith Berkowitz from the Bridgehampton Civic Association. Overall, I'm very supportive and grateful to see the town taking a proactive initiative before the clear cutting happens, rather than a reactive restorative role, which is the current environment after the fact. And I want to genuinely thank the sponsors, Janet Scherer, and all of you and everyone who has worked on this for your efforts and time and all of the input from the community. Of course, in an ideal world, it would be great to see a proposal that more clearly regulates the clear cutting itself, but the proposal that's on the table seems a really good first step. Too many times, the town and the community only find out when it is too late and the damage has already occurred. This just happened at 372 Lumber Lane in Bridgehampton, where despite proactive discussions with the building department on clear cutting and receiving a permit to clear 73% of the property, Kristen Farrell, the owner, went ahead and clear cut almost the entire thing, now before the planning board asking for forgiveness and proposing a revegetation plan. Why? Because the trees were in her way, even though she had 73% already approved. This doesn't really work because generally revegetation plans, even where native plants are utilized, can't replace the mature trees that have been growing in some cases for hundreds of years. And Joe Farrell did the same thing at 2297 Montauk Highway. John Bennett, a local land use lawyer, previously spoke in opposition, arguing that there are already laws on the books, so why do we need this? This is why. Because clients like this don't follow the laws. They do what they want, and they know that all that will happen to them is that they have to revegetate. They know that they can rely on a current environment in which it takes legal power and endless effort to get the town to intervene, if at all, and it often ends up being the burden of the neighbors to hire their own attorneys and seek relief on their own dime. But not everyone is fortunate enough to have those resources. So when Mr. Bennett asks, why do we need this law? This is why. It takes the burden off the community and begins to shift it back to the town and the developers where it belongs. I would still like to see some of the legal wording tightened in many places, as unfortunately in Southampton, when the wording of adopted provisions is not airtight, the local land use lawyers tend to find ways to drive trucks through them. And I will spend some specific comments later this evening. And I don't really understand the new exception in number 11, not the solar one, the new one that's there for the establishment of ag uses on less than 10 acres. I would like to see this taken out as well, as our small ag reserves are where we see some of the greatest abuses. In conclusion, the legislation being proposed is far from perfect, but it is welcome, and it should continue to be refined, particularly the tightening of its language, and a great first step in buttressing our master planning process and stemming the tide of a decade of developers doing whatever they have wanted with few real consequences. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith.
Meredith.
Bringing the next person in.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
Hi. I hope I clicked the right buttons. Thank you for addressing this really critical issue and working through so many details. My name is Sarah Alford, and as I wrote my notes today, I listened to 3 different developers working on cleared and regraded lots in Bay Point, where I've lived for over 10 years. This code excludes protection for lots smaller than 0.46 of an acre. Many neighborhoods near Noyak Bay contain small lots with arching mature trees and are surrounded by water. These lots are currently being clear-cut by developers traveling from Nassau County to monetize projects here, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's an influx of clear-cutting in advance of regulation change, or if it drives development to ecologically sensitive neighborhoods that are small and unrestricted by a land disruption ordinance when it's finalized. On another note, berms, regrading, and retaining walls impact smaller lots with greater intensity, because water may be redirected into neighbors' basements or pools, as I've heard earlier. These berms created around adult trees often kill them by rotting their buried bark. So please, I hope you'll consider clarifying berms and including regulation for berms and extreme grading for neighborhoods of all sizes. Please protect the trees along property lines that have roots traveling into neighboring property. Tree roots don't stop growing at property lines, and I have recently watched helplessly as a developer severed the roots of 2 60-foot plus trees on my property. One lost 1/3 of its roots and the other 1/4 or more. And when these trees die, are they my responsibility or his responsibility because he injured them? If you truly want to seek to protect significant trees, please consider the tree roots as they grow, and they are nearly as wide as the canopy and may extend 20 or 30 feet from the trunk. Please also keep in mind that osprey owls and our lovely songbirds and majestic bald eagles don't perch on green giant shrubs or crepe myrtles, but rather deciduous, mature, tall trees. They need these native oak trees to thrive. Reports show that bird populations are declining locally due to habitat loss and over-reliance on non-native plants. Lastly, a fine of $100 to $3,000 will not faze developers. Please consider requiring violators to plant native trees if they are caught. Even planting a small tree that will grow is better than collecting a small fine. Chris Gobler recently spoke about the damage of nitrogen in the bays, and these tree roots absorb the nitrogen and the runoff, and I hope that you can consider how to protect more trees that will help mitigate our damaged ecology here. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Last person.
Okay, that's better. Good evening, Supervisor Moore, Town Board members. For the record, my name is Bob DeLuca, and I serve as President of Group for the East End. I'm sorry I can't join you in person tonight, but I am happy to be here virtually. In addition to offering our continued support for the new land disturbance ordinance this evening, I just want to take a moment to express our thanks to Councilman Iaselli and Neely for introducing this bill, along with all the Town Board members for their robust consideration and discussions, debate, and revisions over these past several months. I also want to acknowledge the town's hardworking staff, whose time and experience and patience with this process has helped to deliver a reasonable, enforceable, long-awaited, and much-needed local law. At this point in the process, I would urge you to close this hearing, make any final minor adjustments, and move as quickly as you can to giving this valuable policy goal the force of law in Southampton Town. Finally, I would urge the board to remain in close contact with the staff over time to track the effectiveness of this legislation, as it is always important with new legislation to evaluate its true effectiveness and make mid-course corrections once you see how the implementation is proceeding. And I think some of the comments made by earlier speakers make sense and should be looked at with regard to how is the legislation doing over time. With that, I thank you for your consideration of these comments and wish you well going forward.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Kevin, is anyone else on Zoom?
That's all for Zoom.
That's it for Zoom. All right. Well, if there's no other comments, what would you like to do?
I'd like to make a motion to close.
Can I
Wait,
speak?
wait.
We have a second.
Oh, yeah, just on the motion, just wanted to say, what about these, like, for example, not adopting the recommendations from the Sustainability Committee that were in the letter, but putting them in for further consideration? I mean, is that something, Jim, now that we've had the public hearing, we've heard, if we wanted to make some changes, can we close the hearing, make the changes, letting the public know we're going to do that, and then adopt, then that would be what we adopt?
I mean,
I don't.
Like, instead of holding it, we wouldn't have to hold it open.
I don't
to do
even
that,
know where
would we?
we're at.
Well, the rest of the people here do.
Well, there were edits that we literally got when we walked into this
That's
meeting.
not true. That is completely incorrect and a falsehood. This was sent over 10 days ago to everybody to consider.
You should go on the website and you should look at the legislation, and it
That's
says
incorrect.
changes made on April 28th, which is today, correct, are in green. There were changes made today that we
Yes.
didn't get until
Yes,
we
that
walked
was
into
a
this meeting.
demonstration to show you the changes that were made over time, but the corrections that were made at the previous public hearing were posted in a timely fashion and follow the public meeting guidelines. Janice, do you want to speak to what was posted on the website for the board's consideration? And you also, by the way, sent the board a revised copy.
Yes.
You sent to the whole board, got an email directly from you as well.
Correct. And so
Not before
it
the
said
meeting.
public hearing, April 28th meeting, that was what we were going to discuss tonight, not getting it today. It was for tonight's discussion. So it's happening on the record, and you're not adopting anything until you have a final version on your desk for 10 days. And so you still have more time to digest this information. So that is why the law works that way. You can make all the changes as long as they're discussed on the record, and then they must be laid on your desk in final form 10 days prior to your adoption.
So it doesn't mean we have to have another public hearing. We don't have to
All the
continue.
changes have been made and now have been discussed thoroughly on the record.
But what about if we heard things tonight that we wanted to make some,
If you want any further changes, then you would keep it open again, but I think,
Yeah, it would
I don't
depend.
know that I heard anybody say they want anything specifically changed now.
If there was any significant changes, then you might want to keep it open, but if it's, as Janice says, if the changes have been made, you've been reviewing it, the preferred method at this point would to keep the final copy to be presented at the next town board meeting to be voted on.
If there's a motion and a second to close on the dais.
I haven't finished speaking.
Conversation.
I know,
I
but
just
there's a
wanted,
motion
I
and a
thought that
second.
was relevant. Yeah, we don't have to have a vote. We can have comments on the motion, right? So,
Yes.
I don't know, I just thought if we could close it today, so we don't have to have another public hearing.
agree, I would like-
But then include some of the,
Right, if they're minor changes, that's fine. If it turns out there's more significant changes that would have changed the impact and the significance of the
What changes
legislation.
were you
Well,
thinking, Supervisor?
just, like Mark mentioned from the Sustainability Committee, that they would like us to, much like we did with the water quality report, we said, and these are some things that warrant further consideration.
But that's not a code, that's a study.
That's a plan.
So that's a plan. That's not the same thing as this. This is an ordinance, a zoning ordinance.
So you wouldn't put something like that in the code?
Not in the code.
To that point, in my entire time on this board, we have never made this amount of changes during a public hearing process to a code, whereby we then adopted the code without having a public hearing on a clean copy so that people knew what they were coming to speak of. Your people tonight that still weren't aware if the solar had been stricken or not. I think people at this point, yes, they want to see something on the books. But when I continue to go back to the fact of, this is something that I think everybody wants to see, but they want to have something enforceable, and I continue to say this, and for me, listen, if this passes, it passes, obviously. I am one vote. I do not believe that this legislation does what you all want it to do, right? We heard at the last public hearing, if you want a giant green lawn, that's a purpose, right? Solar is a purpose. We are not adding clearing restrictions. I want to make that abundantly clear here. There are no clearing restrictions being added to the code. What it is a permit required for clearing, right? So I want to give you an example that I dealt with for my own self in the past few weeks. Next to my in-laws' house was a historic barn. Historic barns, you need to go to the Landmarks Board, you need to get a review, you need a purpose, you go through the whole process, you get a demolition permit at the end of that. The individuals applied for that permit to demolition that barn, a historic barn. Despite 4 calls to say, hey, this barn is being torn down, the barn ended up being torn down. It's gone. It no longer exists. It was a 1950s Burkowski potato barn. And when I asked why they were able to do that, when we clearly require a permit, we require landmarks review, I was told there is no protection for historic structures beyond the individual coming to landmark it themselves.
Or the
So what
board
happened in that
nominating.
instance?
Excuse me?
Or the board nominating.
They paid an in-violation fee for the permit. They didn't, no tickets, so when you get to the whole $1,000 fine here, that's if tickets are issued. What happened in this instance, and you can substitute historic barn for clear cutting. They paid an in-violation fee on the permit, they got their permit, construction continued the next day. I've heard discussion that the permit fee, to keep it reasonable, because it's an additional permit, and by the way, the planning board did also make comment asking why this wasn't part of the building permit process. I've heard $25. I've heard from several people that they were told by the sponsors the fee for this permit would be $25. That means if you clear cut without a permit and you apply for that permit after you get it, the violation is $50. $50. That's the in violation fee. That's a double fee permit for doing something without a permit. So the push to push this through and get something on the books, when I wish Mr. McIntyre had read the comments from, I don't care if it was 2 members of the Sustainability Committee. It shows that they listened to the public and they took very serious concerns. They made recommendations based on vague standards and undefined terms in the code. They put forward ways we could strengthen it. And I asked before we had the last public hearing if we could close it and we could work together and have a work session and come up with a code that is enforceable, that has teeth, that has real meaning, that sets clearing limitations. This doesn't set clearing limitations, and I'm sorry, when you tell me that removing an entire lawn, an entire, piece of property because there's no clearing restrictions for a lawn so your kids can play lacrosse, that's a purpose, and that would be permitted. What did you really do? What did you really accomplish at the end of the day? You required another permit, you required another process, and you're gonna end up in the same result. And listen, like I said, I'm one vote. If this passes and it closes, I have never, ever, in 5 years on this board, had legislation for a major code amendment in 3 different colors with marketing materials. This is an absolute first for me.
So you should have been here like circa 2005. We'd have like 20 different colors and competing legislation would go on.
Well, I was asked, and to that point, I wanted to put forward legislation to close the loopholes and to stop the clear cutting with the current clause that we had, and I was asked not to put up competing legislation, which I agreed not to do because I thought we were going to work on this and get it to a better place, but.
I just think it's a point to make is that,
I just want to say to that point to get it to a better place, I mean, the public can watch the meetings, the press has been here, they've been observing the meetings, they can see for themselves that there have been very concerted efforts going into the public, speaking to a lot of stakeholders, not just environmentalists. By the way, we have the Pine Barren Society on board, the group for the East End who you just heard from. Citizens Campaign for the Environment just sent another letter of support. Friends of the Long Pond Greenbelt, the Peconic Bay Keeper, Jackson Dodds, an arborist, Legislator Ann Welker, Legislator Greg Dorosky, the town trustees, Councilwoman Kate Rogers from East Hampton supports this. Republican Councilwoman Karen Dunkesnik from Brookhaven supports this. And there are others. And the sheer fact is that we also spoke to people that were in the business community. We spoke to other folks that had concerns, and we engaged them on that process. And the reason why you have this new iteration, which takes the threshold of clearing from 800 square feet on a 20,000 square foot parcel to 2,000 square foot clearing restriction, that is clearly an iteration and a manifestation of the public engagement that we've done throughout this process. This was a very small d democratic process that we've entailed on, thanks to the work of Janice and your team, who worked really diligently, because we know that when we get complaints about clear cutting, we know that those people that we're speaking with are probably speaking to you and your office, and Sean McDermott, who's our chief building inspector. By the way, Sean McDermott did offer a memo, in which he writes, initially I did have some concerns about the potential for delays in the building permitting process. However, we experienced similar challenges when the APOD review was first implemented by the planning department. Through close coordination between the building and planning departments, we were able to develop a system that improved and expedited the review process. I believe this ordinance is necessary to protect our existing regulations, especially given the increase in overclearing we have observed in recent years. As mentioned, our continued collaboration with the planning department should allow for a smooth integration of this ordinance. I want to actually just read a quick paragraph from Citizens Campaign for the Environment and their letter. Is that okay?
Of course.
The amendment to increase the minimum disturbance threshold from 800 square feet to 2,000 square feet is a reasonable step. This change will reduce the number of permits required for small-scale activities, allowing homeowners flexibility to make reasonable changes to their properties, while ensuring that large-scale land clearing projects with greater environmental impact are subject to review. That was one of the main concerns when we first introduced this bill. Is this going to target small homeowners? Is this going to unduly add burdens that regular average homeowners should have to deal with? We need to rectify that within the law, which we did. This ordinance, they go on to say, is, quote, an important first step in addressing the existing regulatory gap by ensuring proper review, especially in cases outside of the Aquifer Protection Overlay District, where limited restrictions currently exist. This legislation is addressing the gap in the code. We are addressing the loophole in the code. We have excellent staff who are trained in planning and environmental science, who have identified this, who have worked diligently, and I'm sorry that you've had to deal with some of the questions that you've received, but I know you've worked diligently on this, and you know, and I just want to say that there are tons of research, academic research out there, that speaks to the link between development and water quality, And we have one here from the Journal of Environmental Monitoring and Assessment, the impact of urbanization on water quality gradient along a lowland river. We have others from the Journal of Sustainability. We have another one from the Journal of Cogent Geoscience, another one from the Environmental Science and Pollution Research, another one from the Environmental Monitor Assessment. I think just days ago, Dr. Chris Gobler of Stony Brook University released his 2026 State of the Bays report with a stark warning to the entire community that our local waters are in trouble. And while we have known about this growing problem for the last couple of years, we know there are solutions. So the town needs to take the bull by the horns, and we need to ramp it up. And we've done that. What you heard about the septic improvement work, that was a great step forward. We eliminated the two-tier structure to allow more applicants to actually get septic improvement grants. We've advanced that legislation.
Expanded the scope,
And
too.
and expanded the scope, too.
Match the counties.
That's true. So, but in addition to that, we need smart legislation that addresses environmental health and integrity. Water quality is linked to development patterns. This ordinance directly gets to the root of this crisis, no pun intended. So we really, I think, need to take this seriously. I think we've done a lot of work. We've done it publicly. It's on record. You could go back to the meetings. You could watch them. You could see how we've engaged with the public on this matter. I commend the Department of Land Management for your work and continued efforts. And we are scheduling, it's 6 months from the passage of the law. We hope to have a work session to discuss how things are going.
Okay.
And I know also you're working on adopting software to help in the streamlining of processes and procedures between your office and the building department.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That's absolutely true.
So I'd like to make a motion
I
to
just want
close.
to, kind of rebut that and just say that it's, all the studies there's two very clear things that you need to know about this legislation. It does not set clearing restrictions outside of APOD. There are no clearing restrictions being set outside of APOD. You need a permit to clear. That's all this is saying. You need a purpose to clear. Solar, purpose. Lawn, purpose. There are still no clearing restrictions, and no judge is going to make somebody have to revegetate an area that there are no clearing restrictions on. So I'm saddened because I think we could have gotten to a place that had an actual, restrictions and clearing restrictions being put in place. And I also want to point out the fact that there has not been, to my knowledge, one developer that has come in to oppose this legislation. Why? Because it's a $50 fine.
That's not true.
I would just add that it has to be known that, natural resource protection is difficult, and it's made weaker if it's too rigid. So we have a problem with the APOD, why we didn't choose to expand it, because if, let's just say you have 35% clearing restriction, and you go clear 37%, you're now revegetating or buying clearing rights to transfer in. It's even more onerous. It's harder than this, which is more about looking at the unique circumstances of the property, looking at the landowner needs, how do we accommodating the built environment. If you're not building anything there and you just want to clear for no reason whatsoever, that's not really the direction. And we're trying to educate people, like, why do you want to do this? We need to prioritize, what are we looking at? We're not on every property looking at everything up front. So we're going to start to have a better understanding of the unique ecosystems that are existing, how they relate to one another, how wildlife passes through them and lives there, and how we're living together in an environment. We're not decimating an environment in order to have these structures. So it's a balancing act. It's not easy. There's always going to be people that are flagrantly violating the law, and that's a shame.
I'd like to point out, there's some focus on what this doesn't do. I'd like to point out a couple of things that it does do. It allows the town to intervene earlier when they see clearing begin. There's nothing right now that stops that or allows us to go in and ask what's going on. This also allows the town to, I'll take a line from the regulation. A continuous line of project limiting fence may be required around the areas to be cleared or disturbed. That's something that will limit the creep as a building is clear, as the land is cleared and a building begins building. A project limiting fence, and we use it at the planning board, limits the amount that developer, builder can creep as they work on their project. If the proposed land disturbance is not consistent with the intent of the provisions of this article, and again, you can read the whole article, or if the purpose of the land disturbance is for future development of the property, which has not been approved by the town, the land disturbance application may be denied in whole or part. Again, if they just come in to clear and there's no plan for what they're going to do, we have the opportunity to deny that permit. The fines are, I believe it's $1,000. $1,000 a day is the fine. So rather than just focus on what it isn't doing, let's focus on what it can do, and let's not throw away the good in search of the perfect. And I say we get started, 6 months we come back, we're going to continue to talk to people, we're going to continue to see what works and what doesn't work. And, legislation is a living document. You can change it as you go and you learn. And I think we need to go forward with this.
Thank you, Tom. And I wanted to address a few comments. We got one today, I think it was Jeannie, and then at the last public hearing, about the size of the properties, and why are we not addressing properties less than 20,000 square feet? And I was worried about that too, and I thought maybe we should add something that says any property that's completely undeveloped should get a permit.
We did add that.
And you did?
Yes, it's in this most recent version.
It's in the green
Okay.
edits.
Because, because I did speak with the chief building inspector, and he said, well, if it's a quarter of an acre, by the time they put the house, the garage, the driveway, it's pretty much the whole thing anyway. So, but I'm glad to hear that.
It is in
because-
69.6A2, and it says, any land disturbance of undeveloped/vacant forested property in any residential or commercial district of any size, meaning it's just untouched property.
And that is something that I absolutely asked for, so I am happy that made it in there.
That makes sense, because, you shouldn't not be protected just because.
And there was
it's
some
a small
concerns about
property.
HOHC, and those are smaller lots. They may only be 10,000 square feet
Yeah.
in those areas too.
Okay, good, well, I'm glad for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Well, then, we do have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks, everyone, for your time and your comments, much appreciated.
I think you're right. I was right on that one. I think it's really, I was thinking the same thing again, but perfectly good. Like Bob said, he said, wouldn't document. We could hear forever. Oh, my God. Thank you. Sorry. We need to get something in there, especially since, there's some people who probably, better clear now, Yeah,
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the second public hearing?
Public hearing number 2, to amend Chapter 312, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 312-20, Hampton Bays, subsection 34.
May.
Okay, May?
Oh,
Thank you for coming. She's standing in for Tom. She's the assistant engineer downstairs.
Yeah.
Doing a great job.
First public hearing?
first public hearing.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Won't be the last.
We don't bite.
Well, good evening, everyone. As Bill mentioned, I'm May
Please
Mullaney.
identify yourself for the record.
I am May Mullaney. I'm the assistant town engineer. And I'm here to reintroduce the public hearing to amend Chapter 312, Section 20, Hampton Bays, to prohibit parking on Gravel Hill Road between Fanning Road and Argonne Road. Public hearings were held at town board meetings on March 24th and April 14th. And we heard from many residents, both in person and in writing. And currently, the resolution proposes to amend the section to include no parking restrictions on both the east and west side of Gravel Hill Road in Hampton Bays.
Thank you.
And this will be from September 1st to June 30th, between 7:30 a.m. and 4 p.m.
I can speak more to that, but I'll just leave it there for now. Yeah.
We had different thoughts about this. One of them was we were gonna do 2 hours. Then we came back to no parking on either side. We're gonna relook at this in the fall after school starts and see if we have to make it up the street further, because a couple of the neighbors up further would want it to go up around the corner. The school is adding on new parking, hopefully during the summertime. We're kind of waiting to see how that happens. Some of the kids who are parked there, they have junior licenses, so they cannot park on the school property. That's one of the biggest problems. I guess you can only park on a school with senior license. So, but we will relook at this in the fall again after school starts.
Yeah, I definitely think we should continue to look at it and have a meeting with the Hampton-Bays school superintendent, because I know he had his concerns, and others, and maybe we can come up with a more comprehensive solution.
Yes, we did have a meeting, myself and Mark Berger from the highway last week, and the school superintendent and his staff. And we worked some stuff out. We told them what we were gonna do, and they agreed, and we're gonna look at it again in the fall.
Okay,
And then
very
we're
good.
gonna help them do some parking during the summertime
All right.
on their property.
Well, thank you, May. Why don't you
Thank
just
you,
hold
May.
on, have a seat, and we'll see if anyone has any other questions for you. I don't have any cards on this matter. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom who'd like to be heard?
No one on Zoom.
No one on Zoom. All right, well, if no one else has any other comments, then I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the third public hearing? Thanks,
Public
May.
hearing number 3, for the consideration of one-year agricultural use agreement for the 2026-2027 pursuant to Chapter 247 of the Town Code.
I just forgot something. Oh.
Is anybody
Jackie,
presenting?
is there anything about, are you involved with this at all? This one? No.
This is just the agricultural assessments coming from the assessor's office. These are just properties that are farmed, and so really kind of almost like a belt and suspenders, quite frankly. It's farmland, so it should be assessed as farmland.
We do it every year, but you have to have a public hearing
It's
for
just
it
a,
every year.
right.
Yeah, it's like you have to notice it every year and have a public hearing, and
They receive they get assessed as farms.
and every year, Jim awkwardly tells us why we're doing this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, essentially, if it's farmed, it should be assessed as a farm anyway, but this provides the clarity that it's a farm, and the assessor should be farming it as assessing it as a farm, and have the benefit of that.
Thanks, Jim. I don't have any cards for this. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom for this third public hearing?
Yeah. Yeah.
No one on Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, if no one has any other comments, then I move to close the third public hearing. All in favor? Aye. Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the fourth public hearing?
Public hearing number 4, to consider the acquisition of 17 Larboard Road and 24 North Road in the hamlet of Hampton Bays, and amend CPF project plan to include 24 North Road property and the CPF management stewardship plan to include the properties.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, Town Council members, Jackie Fenlon, Director of Community Preservation for the Town of Southampton. We are before you today to present this property for acquisition under the Community Preservation. So there's actually 2 properties owned by NRO Corp., and they're the purported owners of 4.8 acres located at 17 Larboard, which is this property. And then we also have the property located at 24 North Road that is developed in Hampton Bays, right here.
It used to be the old state trooper barracks.
Yes.
When I was a kid.
And there are some seasonal cottages on there as well. So these properties, NRO Corp., which again is the purported owner of the properties, I'll just read the tax map numbers into the record, 900-208-1-4.1 and 900-208-1-2. So the purported owners have expressed an interest in selling this to the community preservation in the town of Southampton in the amount of $1,900,000. So this is a property, one of the properties that is undeveloped is targeted and designated as the open space greenbelt target area for the Shinnecock Hills Greenway, in the Community Preservation Project Plan. So this is quoted as being a significant natural area which needs to be saved, one of the last vestiges of natural Shinnecock landscape. The corridor has significance not only to open space as a passive greenway, but also to future critical linkages of the Pominook Path. So that's like the general region of the open space greenbelt target area in Shinnecock Hills Greenway. We are recommending to add 24 North Road to that same designation under the open space greenbelt target area of Shinnecock Hills Greenway in the project plan, and to include both of these properties into the stewardship management and stewardship plan.
I think
DPW yard in the corner, right?
Correct. This is Suffolk County DPW, so you'll see like the piles of sand and salt there right before the winter, and then the town owns these as well, and then CPF recently, within the last decade, has purchased these properties here. So it'll actually provide like a nice green corridor as you're entering or exiting Sunrise Highway. And I just did want to point out that this is a recovering pitch pine oak forest. It was heavily impacted by the southern pine beetle, although it is recovering, and it actually serves as a very nice songbird habitat, which is interesting to see a little oasis in between an exit ramp and an on-ramp and Sunrise Highway.
And I will say that this was actually what most people remember this site for, is this was to be a site for a very large pest facility. And as we went through the public hearings on that, residents, as I'm sure we'll hear from, were, actually brought to our attention all of the, natural resources and historic things about these properties, and, and asked for them to be preserved as natural habitat. So
Yeah,
happy to
one's
see this kind of come full circle here.
One's already in the project plan, so.
Yes. Yeah, and so the other one is being required by contract to be demolished.
Now, are we going to go and remove any of those trees, or just let them fall where they lie? And
Generally, we don't, unless there's posing a safety issue, but right now, most of them have fallen already, and it's recovering. So we probably wouldn't go in unless there was an immediate safety issue.
Yeah. And they will grow back. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie. This is a good one.
Bridget Mayer has a comment for us. Come on up, Bridget.
Bridget Marr, Hampton Bays, and Cindy just pointed out what I'm here to put this, I'm hoping this is finally put to bed. Some of Hampton Bays town overseers, Gail and Marion, both contacted me and said, maybe you should go to the meeting. So I'm here because I'm happy to hear there are songbirds over there, because it's better than the hum of batteries. And I guess what I wanted to just ask or say is, I'm hoping that, I had heard a rumor that this might be used for parking for the US Open, which sounds fine, but, oh, okay, it will not be. So I'm just here to say thank you, and I hope this happens, and it puts this thing to bed, and I can finally communicate to the Between the Bays people, it's over. It's finally over. And it has been over for a while, so thank you very much.
This whole board tried to preserve that.
Thank you.
In the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for staying through this whole meeting to tell us. All right, Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom for the fourth public hearing?
No one on Zoom.
Okay. Well, if there's no other comments, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the fifth and final public hearing?
Public hearing number 5, to consider
Thanks,
the Town of Southampton Highway Department Water Quality Improvement Projects for 2026 Community Preservation Fund, 20% Water Quality Improvement Project Funding.
Okay, so these are the water quality allocations and funding requests we received from the Town of Southampton Highway Department. So we have worked with the Water Quality Advisory Committee and the consultants, engineering consultants, L.K. McLean, for the Highway Department, as well as Mark Breger, the Deputy Superintendent. So I just wanted to present to you, we have 9 different projects. The recommendation is for 7 projects to be funded. The 2 other projects would just need a little bit of reevaluation and redesign so that they serve water quality purposes. I do have packages to hand out to the town board, which you are aware of. I just wanted to hand out copies to you.
Their stamped copy. Sunday.
Oh, good, you did it in advance. Thank you.
They're stamped.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack.
Jackie, did you copy stamp them?
You did. So I was showing you, it's already done.
That's okay. That's okay. It's all good, thank you.
So one of the initiatives I wanted to start when I became director was to also allow to highlight any water quality projects that town departments, internal departments can do to improve the water quality impacts on our local bays and natural water bodies and groundwater. So a lot of what you're seeing today are existing properties, road ends that are out, that have outlets directly into the bay, or are resulting in stormwater flow that is untreated and going into our surface water bodies. So the first application we have is Argonne Road East. So that is a project type for reduction and remediation. This is impacting the Shinnecock Bay watershed. So the requested funding for this project is $248,000. Would you like us to go over each of them? And
Oh,
do
the
you wanna-
revised request went up.
Yes, yeah. Do you have the memo as well?
Yes.
Just have it now. But I
The
mean,
memo's on top,
Okay.
and then the resolution speaks to the updated amount. Yeah, so
Right.
some of them, we asked them to reevaluate. We had some, recommendations for them to make sure that we, make more of a difference in water quality objectives. So. But this is $248,000. You have the benefit of the Water Quality Advisory Board memo, as well as the resolution that set the public hearing, as well as the resolution which we have on tonight, which is Resolution 2026-0740, which is recommending funding for the 7 projects out of the 9. Would you like us to kind of like present them or kind of go
I
through?
mean, we've gone through all of these, we've had discussions on them, for the public's edification. I don't think, Supervisor,
Do
you
you
have any
want-
cards on this?
Do you want to do you just want to
Since
tell
you
what the
have the
projects
board,
are, just
yeah.
really quick?
Sure.
And I do want to thank you for working directly
Yeah.
with the Highway Department and Mark Brager. It's great because they get a lot of, the Highway Department actually gets a lot of these complaints, and you all come in and work directly with them to identify what's going on. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Kevin, could you adjust the camera so it can pick up the whole display? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I guess we'll go through them quickly. But this is Argonne Road East, so this is a request for $248,000. You can see in red here that we'll be capturing a capture system, and then we have a bioswale here with a walkway over to still provide beach access.
And actually makes better access in that area with that.
Thank you.
All right, okay, so the next one is Bay Avenue.
Do you want to stand behind the podium so I can hear you? Because we're not even showing you, we're just showing the.
Sure, that's fine. All right, going blind now. Bay Avenue, this is a remediation project. So this is impacting the Shinnecock Bay watershed. This is a requested funding of $240,000, of $240 and $100, excuse me. And so this is, again, a project that's impacting, as you can say, Shinnecock Bay. This is a road ending, so we're proposing, I think it's just bioswales along the side to make sure that water isn't, this is, as if anyone's familiar, this is where the town boat ramp is, boat launch. So we're trying to make sure that we treat water before it just basically flows downhill and into the bay.
Because that's a very important area, and a lot of runoff actually goes into the bay there. This will stop that.
And trustee and parks and the highway just recently redid all the bulkheading there, so it's all.
Yeah, so this will help treat the water before it flows downhill and into the bay.
Another really important project.
Yeah, and this will be a subtle improvement, it'll be, kind of a minor road side swale.
I just have a question on it. I know we've discussed it, but they had, I know where that one swale is along the grassy area. There's a lot of, that's where they park boats and trailers and stuff. This won't affect any of the parking on the sides of the roads, Bill, for the clammers and stuff?
No, there's still enough room.
It's all off the pavement.
Okay.
And a lot of people realize besides collecting water, the swales also collect garbage, what would flow down the road in the wind or with the water. They actually go into the swales, and probably twice a year, they'll go in there and clean it up. Depends.
Floatable solids will be trapped before entering the bay in this location. Yeah.
Chris Gobler will be very happy with us.
So the next one is Evergreen Road. So this is also a reduction and remediation project. This is going to impact the Peconic River. So the requested funding is $469,126.56. So very exact on that one. But this is Evergreen Road. This does have an existing outlet. Sorry, I just wanted to point to it. So that blue line right there, you do have the plan specs in your package as well. But this will take up pavement and then will also treat. This is the one with the stormwater treatment system?
It's downstream defender, captures 80% of the total suspended solids and floatables and debris.
Could you just go into explain people who are watching what is it, how it
Keith,
works?
do you want to use the podium?
We have a mic there for him if you want.
Oh, you do? Oh, thanks, Jim, I didn't notice that.
Didn't we
Oh,
just
thank you.
pave Evergreen? So what's that mean?
I think that was at the southern portion.
Okay, this is a
at
different
the
part
northern
of it.
portion,
Okay.
closer to the bay.
That's good.
Yeah.
And that's good straight bass in the springtime.
So this will, it's a concrete chamber where the existing outflow pipe will be intercepted. It creates a swirling motion, which allows all the sediment to settle out into the bottom of the structure. And they need to be cleaned out every 6 months or so the highway department would have to come with a vac truck and suck out all the debris that it captures. And for the water quality storm event, which is 90% of all rainfalls, it will capture all of that sediment that otherwise would have entered into the Peconic River. And I think one of the important things to point out with this one is they're actually just reducing the runoff also by reducing the width of the pavement. So we're taking out asphalt and replacing with native wetland vegetation.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
I always joke that the downstream defender is like a glorified salad spinner. But it's basically separating everything and allowing the sediment to fall down and then capturing those solids. So that's kind of what's going in. And then this would kind of just outlet right currently into Peconic Bay. So now we'll be removing pavement, and we'll be making sure that we capture those solids and remove them. So the next one is Far Pond Road. So this is also a project type for reduction and remediation. This is impacting Shinnecock Bay watershed. This is a requested funding. This was one where it looked like more of a ponding and a flooding issue. But I think if the project was redesigned, as you can see in the water quality advisory committee recommendations, they could come back and hopefully treat this area and implement maybe like a roadside rain garden or something like that, so it's treated. But this is essentially like a ponding project.
Have you been talking with the trustees about that?
Not directly.
Okay.
Yeah, but this was going to be redesigned, so if there's anything in the area that we should be aware of, we could.
Yeah, I'll make sure the trustees have some input on it. We're going to redesign that during the winter.
Yeah, because they've been meeting with some of the folks there.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
That always has been a problem in that area since they put that house with the rock revetment there.
Yeah, and it seems like there's a low area in the pavement. It's actually not going directly into the bay, but it is ponding in that location. So some regrading and possibly a roadside swale would be a way to accomplish it. So this was something that I think we want to reevaluate and redesign.
Wait, so we got a design from
We got a design.
LKMA,
Yeah.
and who looked at it and determined that they need to go back to the drawing board?
Well, so because it wasn't actually overflowing or the stormwater wasn't going directly into the water, they thought it was more of a ponding issue. But again, a ponding and flooding issue is not really impacting water quality. It's more like a road maintenance issue. But if we're able to treat this and maybe direct it into a rain garden rather than just regrade the road and repave it and kind of push it into, we're looking at another way to improve the water quality.
Definitely reach out to Trustee Mack
Okay.
and
Sure.
Trustee Pello Farrell. They've been meeting with some of the members. and-
Great, that's good to know. Okay. Yeah, so again, this is not recommended for funding at this time, but I think with a redesign, this would be a feasible project. The next one is Flying Point Road. As many will know, Flying Point Road, as one of our favorite, town beaches, there is a long expanse of bulkheading along the east side of the road. So this is a requested funding of $100,000 to engineer this properly. We're looking at different possibilities here, which may include low sill bulkhead or a rock revetment to essentially bring in a little bit more of a aquatic restoration project, and look at basically this as a cumulative impact. So this is $100,000 that has been requested for the engineering to properly engineer this, and then also, I believe, seek DEC approvals. So this is to fund the engineering, because this will be a significant project, and we want to take.
They'll probably come back next year once they get the engineering done.
And that would really improve the health of Mekong's.
And there's a lot of flooding along that road.
Water goes in there.
Yeah, and we're looking at, like possible ways to still allow access to the water. We all know that it's kind of a favorite crabbing and fishing spot and a pullover spot, but also kind of, organize it so that there are some areas where, native vegetation can reclaim the area. But at this point, we're just kind of trying to look at the best strategy, because this is a very significant project and it will be costly. So we just want to fund the engineering at this point.
Because with the bulkhead, there's not much native living along the shoreline at all, which the bay needs to.
And it's a lot of informal parking, so if we can designate some native planting areas and then designate where parking would be appropriate instead of kind of having an informal, kind of sandy shoulder, I think it'll help improve, because just adding native vegetation will help filter any stormwater runoff or any rainwater before it enters Mecox Bay. The next one is Lake Avenue. So this is a property that CPF is actually in contract to purchase. So we're hoping to finalize the purchase of the adjacent property just to the north. This is a significant project, but we're hoping once we acquire the parcel to the north that we'll be able to look at this and redesign so that we can actually accomplish rain gardens. So it might not need as much, pavement, to like how would you say?
Hard surface.
But also we might not need to realign the road as much as possible, but maybe we could treat some of the stormwater runoff on that northern portion.
That's a big number.
I know, and it's being, and a radius, as the town board smartly did, we actually are purchasing with general funds a little sliver to basically have a road radius and expansion that will allow them to look at future drainage needs, possibly a rain garden, and treat some of the stormwater there. So this is just kind of, we want to reevaluate it, and we will have ownership and site control of that property to the north.
And this is the gas station at Wildwood Lake, and we did authorize the acquisition, but it
Yes.
hasn't, we didn't close yet?
We didn't close yet. No, we're waiting to facilitate all of the requirements of the contract, but we're hoping to
The
close
owner
it.
has to demolish the structure.
Dan's working hard on it.
Okay.
So there's no funding requested right now.
They did request $848,500, but we're not recommending that. But we'd like to look at a redesign, and then once we secure that site, once CPF has purchased that and we've closed on that, that will allow us to look at different techniques.
For next year.
The next one is 3955 Noyak Road. So this is a project they requested funding for $338,700. So this will impact the watershed of Paynes Creek. So this is an existing intersection. So this will also have another treatment, stormwater treatment conveyance system. It will still result in outlet to the water, but this will capture and treat and catch those solids.
Has the same type of.
Same downstream defender,
Yeah.
intercepting existing drainage pipe. And then there is a second, it's not an outfall, but it's where the water flows through the woods. So we're looking to create a drainage swale on the side of the road here to capture a little bit and reduce the amount of runoff that makes its way to the creek.
So that roadside
On
swale.
the water side here, swale, right?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of hilly on the other side there, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And we do have some check dams, so because it is on a slope, so it would allow the water to kind of go through smaller areas, store and overflow.
Is what you're calling a downstream defender the same as a hydrodynamic separator?
Yeah, that's a product. The hydrodynamic separator is more of a generic term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, so, let's see here. Any other questions? We'll move on, if not, to Shore Road, which is also a reduction in remediation. This would impact the watershed of North Sea Harbor. And this is a requested funding amount of $228,599. So this is another road end, where we're just, so looking for capture systems and then reduced pavement and then a little, I think that's revegetation right there?
Yeah, bioswale.
Yep.
Down at the end of the road.
Yeah, so this is another project just to, reduce the impacts of a dead-end road and capture before it gets to the bay.
Do this wheel.
And then the last one is Springville Road, which is a remediation project. This will impact the watershed of Smith Creek and Shinnecock Bay. This requested funding amount is $971,108.
What are they going to do on Springville?
So this is a big project. This is where, what's the
It
point
catches all the
called?
water coming down.
Yeah, so this is Springville, so where you used to come down right by the movie theater. This is the very end terminus, and you'll take the left to go to the beach. But if you keep going, I think it's Rampasture Point. I was just trying to remember that name.
By the boatyard.
Yeah, so this right now, there is an outlet, but we are looking to put in, it's a different type, though. It's not the downstream defender.
We changed it. We did have the other type, but then
Yeah.
we reconfigured the pipe to
Okay.
be a downstream defender.
Oh, it will be, okay.
Yeah.
All right, just because there was several pipes intersecting.
This corner is like a funny corner because actually the road is on the boatyard's property. No, on the other side.
On this side?
Yeah, down by the,
Over here?
no, go up. Right where the
Where
pipe
it makes
is.
the big left.
Yeah.
And coming down, make the big left, right?
So I showed you that on the guy wanted to either sell the piece of property or move the road over.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a big project, but there's existing not treatment, right, before this outlets into the canal right there. So this will be a downstream defender. I thought it was a different type, but it was able to be modified. But we were looking at it because they provided that there's different pipes existing there and intersecting. So this will at least be treating and separating those solids before it enters the canal in this location.
Treating.
Oh, well, separate.
That creek is
Treating
really,
stormwater, yeah.
that creek is really heavy with metals.
But is this so much more expensive because you have to replace existing drainage in addition to putting the unit in?
We're replacing it and capturing it all, the different intersections and piping it down to the low point. Like right now, all of the water is just flowing down and
Oh, there's
congregating.
no drainage?
It's
existing?
minimal, yeah, a lot less than what we're currently improving.
So you've engineered it out and everything else. This money is to get it implemented.
Yeah, I mean, this is a schematic, but this is the general concept as to where we think we can pick it up at the different legs of the intersection and get 100% of the water to flow through that unit.
So new inlets and piping, basically, and then it can be treated by the downstream defender before it enters the canal.
Okay.
So that concludes the 9 projects with a quick
And
summary.
those two
of each.
projects in Flanders, that Longview and the Royal, that we're waiting for the DEC permits,
We just got
those are
permits
funded,
today.
right? Were they funded last
Those
year?
are previously funded, yeah.
Yeah,
You got the permits?
they came in today, the
Oh,
DC
great.
permits.
Excellent.
I got Penny,
He said, he
Penny-
wrote back to me and said he's on it.
He's
So,
on it?
yeah, so we should get some
I
soon.
put Jim on it.
We didn't get that one yet.
Hampton Bays.
Bay Drive, it believes a CPF project, and the downstream defender is currently being installed. That project should be done in the next few weeks.
That's great.
Well, that's excellent. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you for your hard work. Is this, what is
thank
this
you.
on for adoption for?
Oh, tonight. So I have resolution 2026-0740.
Working so hard on
Authorize the funding.
Yeah. Oh,
Amy?
did you want?
You have
Oh,
to get
You
up.
gotta come up.
You have to come up.
You wanna talk, you gotta come up. It's all right. We'll let it go this time.
She's nicer than me.
Hello? Nobody's looking?
Identify yourself.
Amy Paradise from Hampton Bays, and I'm on the Sustainability Committee, and they asked me to sit down and work with them on doing bioswales, and here you guys
I'm a little confused. I have to talk to people, but you mentioned Bay Avenue. You got that all figured out in Hampton Bays?
No, it's in East Quogue.
East Quogue.
We have, we have,
One being presented tonight is in East Quogue.
there's
There's
a
another
Bay-
project
in
in Bay
Hampton
Avenue,
Bays.
yeah, in Hampton Bays that was previously funded.
that one went out for
Bid.
bid and should be constructed sometime in the next, start construction sometime in the next 3 months or so.
We're waiting for the bids to
You're
come
already
in.
working around all these places.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta talk. And I'm fascinated, the business with Springfield Road, you know, that's been flooding since I was a kid, because what they did was, that was all, the head of the creek used to go across the road. They built a house right where it used to flood. Must be interesting in their basement. So you're gonna get rid of all that flooding at the same time? Because it still floods.
Well, all the drainage will really help.
Drainage will
Yeah,
help.
the drainage will help.
It's
Yeah,
like-
it won't just wash over, it'll go down now and into the,
Right, we're gonna do a full watershed analysis, run drainage models, and size the system and the pipes accordingly to safely, so it will provide increase in the capacity and treat the water.
For rain, not tidal floods.
Might help flush some of the garbage out of the creek too, who knows? You're right about the toxins there, since they turned that into a boatyard. Those places are awful.
Yeah, a lot of minerals actually came from the road, from the pipe.
Yeah?
Because the head of the creek, it's the heaviest for minerals there. A lot of places where these old pipes come out off the heavy road, is heavy with minerals. With iron and stuff from the road.
Well, at least I know who to talk to now. Thank you.
Thank you.
and, feel free to email us too if you have questions about certain streets or properties or projects. We'll let you know.
The deputy,
Or we'll give you an update at the next, civic meeting.
Next time around, when we go through the street names, we have to mention the hamlets, because there are a few bays, there's a few shores, there's a few.
That is true, that is true.
This $971,000 isn't for the study, this is for the actual
Drainage.
Right.
That's for the Springville
drain.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for
Okay, 'cause
the
I-
study plus construction.
All right, I thought you just said something about a study.
Engineering plus infrastructure. So they're gonna study it further to make sure they properly size.
that's really important. We want to get that done as soon as we can. Hopefully by next fall.
So again, this is on for funding, 2026-0740 is the resolution number.
It's done, who knows?
Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Keith.
All right, so let's see, I don't have any cards for this one, but Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom for this last public hearing?
No one on Zoom.
No one on Zoom, all right. Well, since there aren't any other comments, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that brings us to public portion. And I do have a card, Sandra Dunn. Thank you for your patience.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to be here with you, and I'm not here to talk about land and water. I'm going to change the subject, although I really appreciate everything the town board is doing to protect where I live, Hampton Bays, and any investment from the CPF fund, I really, really appreciate. So I don't remember if I said my name. I'm sorry, Sandra Dunn from Hampton Bays. So I'm here to talk about the East End Public Safety and Accountability Law, which is legislation that has been drafted by Ola of Eastern Long Island and former Assemblyman Fred Thiel, and I'm sure you're all at least a little bit familiar with it at this point. This law would ensure that local police are not cooperating with ICE and would increase transparency around this issue. I'm not going to go into the particulars of the law. You have a version of the legislation. But I just want to say here tonight that passage of this law is important for so many reasons. I'm just going to talk about a couple. The first one, I'll just start with some statistics. So currently in ICE custody, and the statistics I'm citing here are accurate as of April 4th of this year, so just a few weeks ago. There are 60,311 people in ICE custody as of the 4th of April. 71% of these people, or 42,722 people, do not have criminal convictions. So only 29% of the people in ICE custody have criminal convictions. And many of those who do have criminal convictions, this 29%, they are for minor infractions like traffic violations and things like that. So these are not the hardened murders and rapists and pedophiles that the current administration would have you believe, judging from the rhetoric that's on the DHS website. The second reason is that most people taken by ICE locally, as we know, and we have had our share of raids here, as you all know, are just regular people trying to earn an honest living and raise their children, and many of these children are U.S. citizens. However, now people are not showing up for school, they're not showing up for health care, they're not showing up for their court dates, which they would normally show up for, because they are afraid for their safety and that of their family members. So I just want to share an experience that I had early one morning as part of a rapid response network that Ola has organized when there was an ICE raid in Hampton Bays. And I was in the parking lot of Dunkin' Donuts and just sharing. ICE had already come and gone, and they had taken 4 people. But there were a couple of Southampton town police officers there. And so I approached one of them and I said, you know, did you have a role in this? And he was very nice, and he said, no, we don't cooperate with them. And I said, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. When I shared this with an immigrant friend of mine who happens to be a landscaper, he said that whenever ICE raids have occurred, that the local police are always there. And this creates confusion in people's minds. I trust that the police are not cooperating with ICE. But having this codified in law would be so important. It would send a tremendous message to the community that you've got their backs, that you understand that this community is one community. There's not a separate Latino or immigrant community. We are one community.
The police are there because people call them. The police don't get notified in advance of the ICE agents coming. Then when they're here, people from the community call and report it, and then, of course, the police respond.
I believe that. I know that. Most of the people out there don't know that. Mm-hmm. So I'm speaking to this issue of public safety and the issue of trust, right? And for the town board to enact this legislation would be such a huge step in the right direction. OLA and other organizations would push that out to the community so that it would be known. And it's not going to solve the problem, but it is a big step forward. So I urge you, in closing, to follow the example of East Hampton Village, which has just passed their version of it, which is actually a stronger version because it states that it will never enter into a 287G agreement with ICE. And I would love to be here speaking again soon as part of a public hearing, not just public portion, and have you all put it on the agenda, put it to a vote, and vote to pass this legislation. It'll show residents that you care about protecting them regardless of their immigration status, where they're from, or how they got here. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
I think the governor was about to, or poised to, pass a law that prohibits local police departments from entering into those 287G agreements. Do you know if that occurred?
I don't know that it's occurred, but I'm aware that it's out there in the works. Yeah.
I know Ola is aware that this is already our policy, right? So I don't know why Ola isn't out, instead of coming to us to ask us to do something, why you're not out there getting that out to the community that we don't cooperate, and that's our policy, and it has been our policy. Because right now, I know that crimes are going unreported because people were scared, and whether or not there's legislation is irrelevant because it's already the policy. So,
but I think legislation, I mean, we know legislation is much stronger than policy, and I can't speak to what OLA's putting out there because I'm not a staff member of OLA. Okay. So I'm speaking here as a community member of Hampton Bays who has an interest in this issue. And I know OLA is eager, and I think they've already spoken with some or all of you, is eager to keep the dialogue going, but I'm not a part of that at all, just regular resident from Hampton Bays. Okay.
Because we are working on something with our town attorney's office.
Awesome. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom for public portion?
I have one person on Zoom.
What did he say?
One person on Zoom.
Oh, okay. You didn't hear what the governor said?
Pushing us, why aren't we getting that information out to the community that we're not?
Hi,
Hi.
this is my first time speaking on Zoom to y'all. My name's Andrea Code. I live in Hampton Bays. Like Sandra, who just spoke, I just wanted to speak up and support, and I'm very happy to hear that you're working on the drafting something based on the proposal that Ola put forward towards safety and accountability with our local law enforcement for to support our community, keep us safe, keep our neighbors and our families safe. There's a lot of fear about what ICE is doing, and it's happened here. And I just think that I think that bringing this to law, bringing it to vote as soon as possible, I think is it's very urgent. So I just wanted to voice my support of that and hope that would continue to be brought up, hopefully very soon.
Okay.
That more people can speak up for it.
Thank you for joining us tonight. You did great.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah. Now it's easier in person, but yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, so I guess that's
Resolution time?
it. So I move to close public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we want to take the water quality stuff out of order?
Yes, so Jackie and Dan and company can go.
I'm looking.
I know which one it is. Well, she's got some other ones on here
When you
too.
take them out of order, it kind of messes up the time stamping, but
What?
time stamped, the resolution's in order.
So it's
I
not
mean,
a
we
good
can just
idea.
go through
All right,
each,
just
we
do it.
don't,
We'll go quick.
I don't think we need them.
Hey, Dan, you guys can leave.
Only if you want to.
You have some things on you want to make sure.
If you want to stay, you can, but we have any questions and we don't plan on not passing anything.
Would it be possible for us to take two of the resolutions?
We were just talking about that, but it's
We
with the new
timestamp the
system, it's
resolution,
not.
so the public can touch them,
We'll
and it'll bring
go
them right to
fairly
the-
quickly.
Okay.
Sure.
So we do have a resolution, number 2260744, for rescission and cancellation of a contract. We are actually going to be meeting with the owner and their attorney, so we would like to table that resolution, please.
You want 0744?
Yeah, 0744.
Just wanted us to
I don't-
table it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just please table it.
We got the message.
2026-0744, if you could please table that.
Pages it on.
I'm sorry, I don't
It's on
have the
page
full-
34, Madam Clerk.
That's the one regarding 775 Middle Line Highway in Noyak.
Table.
Property owner requested a conference.
Thank you. I just wanted.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so Councilmember Pell, you want to get us started?
Yes. Resolution 2026-0589, authorize supervisor to execute a no-cost contract extension with L.K. McLean Associate Engineer and Survey DPC to provide engineer and technical service associated with town FEMA Advanced Assistant Fund for a feasible study of materials and support for grant application for FEMA Hazard Migration Grant Program for Dune Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Resolution. Resolution 2026-0710, authorize purchase of a set of 6 wireless mobile column lifts and wheel dollies from Sterlcone USA, Inc., using Sourcewell contract 121223-SKI.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's for the barn, mechanics barn in North Haven. North Seal, excuse me.
Somebody wants to get the lifts in there.
Yes,
Yeah.
for the heavy trucks. Resolution 2026-0712, authorized purchase of asphalt and bitumen materials using Suffolk County contracts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-0713, authorized purchase of guard booth using Suffolk County contract SCOT-021822 with Casone Leasing, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-0726, authorized supervisor to sign a no-cost contract extended with L.K. McLean, Associate Engineer and Survey DPC for professional engineer service for Yacht Club Drive, Remsen Brook bulkhead replacement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 2026-0728, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Suffolk County Office for the Aging for expanded in-home services for the elderly.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 729 of 2026, authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Pye Barker Fry and Safety LLC, doing business as Briscoe Protective, for 1232 North Sea Road, East End Maintenance Shop.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0730 to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Source Pass Contemporary LLC for professional services for video surveillance equipment replacement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0731, co-sponsored by Councilmember Iacilli, to authorize the supervisor to execute a 2026 grant agreement with Suffolk County for enhanced DWI enforcement program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0732, to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Source Pass Contemporary LLC for professional services for virtual software upgrades. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-0733, sponsored by the whole board. Recall amend Resolution 2026-0292, authorized supervisor to sign any and all documents with the CLIO Thermal Solution, Inc. to provide professional service and property equipment management software for Community Preservation Office.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's really going to help.
Yes, we get our reports on time.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0734, to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Source Pass Contemporary LLC for professional services for video surveillance backbone hardware upgrade.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 735 of 2026, Town of Southampton Parks and Recreation Department to accept donation from Hampton Bays Fire District for 2 vehicles.
Second.
That was 2 of their old Chiefs trucks, so I want to thank the Hampton Bays Fire District.
Yeah, that was nice for them to
Nice.
donate it. All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0736, to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Source Pass Contemporary LLC for professional services and hardware upgrades for town facilities. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-737, co-sponsored with Supervisor Moore, to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with BEI Holdings for maintenance coverage for the digital voice recording system utilized in the 911 dispatch center for the police department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-0738, co-sponsored with Michael Izzo, Councilperson. Recall amendment resolution number 2025-1238, authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Fox Land Survey to prepare a survey for 130 Old Riverhead Road, West Hampton Bays.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-0739, authorize the supervisor to sign a catering contract for senior services holiday party.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0740, co-sponsored by the entire board, to authorize funding allocation for the Town of Southampton's Highway Department Water Quality Improvement Projects for 2026 Community Preservation Fund, 20% Water Quality Improvement Project funding.
Second.
Grateful to our Highway Department for doing all these projects. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Town Board Resolution 2026-0744, co-sponsored by the entire board. We're going to table that to 5/12.
Second to table.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 2026-756, co-sponsored with Councilperson Neely, authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with L.K. McLean Associates Engineering and Surveying, DPC, for professional engineering service related to a visual condition assessment of the existing improvements located at 34 Good Ground Road in Hampton Bays.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0761, co-sponsored by Councilmember Iacilli, to authorize the purchase of a new 2026 Chevrolet Tahoe from Deneur Chevrolet, Inc., using Livingston County contract number 2025-49.
Second.
All in favor?
Resolution 2026-0762, authorized purchase of a Global M4HSD sweeper from Suffolk County Brake Service using Town of East Hampton contract EHWY 25-0110.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-763, co-sponsored with Councilperson Neely. Authorize the supervisor to sign a duplicate satisfaction of mortgage on a community development block grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0768, to authorize the supervisor to execute a consideration agreement with the United States Golf Association in connection with the 2026 U.S. Open Golf Championship at Shinnecock Hills Golf Club. All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0770, co-sponsored by Councilmember Iacilli, to award BP 2026-0014 and to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Eagle Point Gun, T.J. Morris and Sons, for the purchase of ammunition.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0780, to recall and amend Resolution Number 2026-0505, to authorize the supervisor to execute a service order with Box Inc. for Business Plus account licenses.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-0765, notice to bidders for supply and distributor of garbage bags, bid number BP 20260024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 766 of 2026, notice to bidders for annual playground site furnishings and installation.
Second.
All in favor?
Resolution 2026-0769, notice to bidders for a pump and/or tank system maintain and installation. Bid
Second.
number
Oh, sorry.
BP 2026-2, 0025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0725, to amend the 2026 adopted budget for the purchase of Civic Notify emergency notification software.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 745 of 2026, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, amend the 2026 adopted budget for Bridgehampton Parking District.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0749, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, the West Hampton War Memorial Ambulance Association, Inc. Service Award Program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0750, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, the Southampton Volunteer Ambulance Corps Service Award Program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0751, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, the Flanders Northampton Volunteer Ambulance Company Service Award Program.
Second.
All in favor? Town Board Resolution 2026-0771, to authorize the arbitrage payment to the U.S. Treasury.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0772, to amend the 2026 budget for various departments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0779, to authorize remittance of Verizon lease funds to 112 Old Riverhead Road, LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 704 of 2026, co-sponsored with Councilperson Neely, to appoint additional members of the Community Housing Fund Advisory Board for 2026.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0708, to reappoint individuals to the Public Safety Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0709, to appoint Edwin Knight as Chair of the Public Safety Commission for 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 2026-0741, co-sponsored with Councilmember Pell, appoint the Sustainable Southampton Green Advisory Committee for 2026.
I'd like to table this because I'd like to have some discussion on a next executive.
Table this?
Yes.
Table?
Okay.
Unless you guys feel strongly.
I think, I thought we had reviewed the list, but if you want to have
I
a
just want to review it
discussion.
one more time.
Okay.
The next meeting,
Okay.
to the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
You made a tabling motion. Second to table?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 747 of 2026, this is to appoint Dark Skies Advisory Committee for 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0752, to appoint Leslie Schultz to the Planning Board.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, Leslie. Town Board Resolution 2026-0711, to authorize the town attorney to settle Klager versus the town of Southampton and the village of Quogue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-0742, resolution to adopt amend section 312-20 entitled Hampton Bays prohibited parking on east side of Gravel Hill Road between Argonne Road and Fannin.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0697, co-sponsored by the entire board, to adopt the New York State Pro-Housing Community Pledge.
Second.
On the motion, I just want to say that I want to thank you for adding the 3 further resolves to the resolution. I know the state wouldn't allow us to delete any of their language, but they did allow us to add language to it. I know that I was not a supporter of this. I just want to make sure that everyone knows we added, can I just read the 3 furthered resolves that we added to this code? Further resolved that nothing contained in this resolution shall in any way alter, waive, impair, or diminish the town of Southampton's right to home rule as presented in Article 9 of the New York State Constitution, and be it further resolved that nothing contained in this resolution will be used to interpret zoning in the town of Southampton as it exists today, or as it will be amended in the future, and be it further resolved that this pledge is to serve as a guidepost to future actions this and future Southampton town boards may freely and independently choose to undertake for the benefit of all the residents of Southampton.
Yeah, I mean, this is an important step, and I did want to clarify that there are no requirements that we, create a certain number of housing, but that we did want to put in these additional paragraphs to further qualify. We had to, in order to be eligible through the grant programs, we have to, well, we wanted to join the program, but.
There's numerous grant
Yeah.
funding that could avail the town.
Right.
And I do want to thank Kara and her staff for sitting through numerous meetings. We met with other municipalities. There were a lot of conversations with HCR as well to get
Yeah.
some of this clarified on what.
Yeah, and some of the programs are Downtown Revitalization Initiative, the New York Main Street Program, the Long Island Investment Fund through the Empire State Development, and Public Transportation Modernization Enhancement Program. So there's a lot of grants that will now be eligible for by qualifying for the program.
And we still have home rule.
Yeah.
And we still have the
And
home
because
rule.
there was serious, worry after, especially what we went through with them, what
Yeah.
we're currently dealing with on the marijuana, cannabis.
Yeah, so we're glad that they were open to letting us add these paragraphs, and now it preserved our home rule.
All right.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 753 of 2026, waive portable stage fee for Hampton Bays Fire Department Annual Carnival.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 764 of 2026, authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the Southampton Elks Carnival from May 8th to May 10th and May 14th to May 17th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 767 of 2026, authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the East Quogue Elementary School Robert J. Long Jr. 5K Run Walk on May 16th, 2026, from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0777 to recall and amend Resolution Number 2026-0629 to correct the address.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0719 to accept the resignation of Sean Cambridge from our Town Attorney's Office.
Second. We'll miss him.
We have to?
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
I
Unfortunately
do
have
want to
to, I
thank him
guess.
for over 5 years. He did so much for enforcement actions, and he was always very responsive to the town board members. Made sure the codes we drafted were enforceable. So thank you, and
Yeah,
I wish him well in his new position.
And the file cabinet's going to miss him.
100% agree. Sean was always willing to step up and help out the office any way he could, and I wish him the best of luck over at the county. I'm sure he's
Yeah.
going to do great
He
over
sounded
there.
like he'd be very happy there, so.
I think it's a better
wish him well.
situation for him and his family. You know, he's closer, so
Mhm.
It's closer.
I'm sure he'll do a phenomenal job there.
Yeah.
And we'll find someone good to take his place.
Right.
All right. Town Board Resolution 2026-0720 to accept the resignation of Susan Avelli. All in favor? Aye. Town Board Resolution 2026-0773 to appoint Timothy Bowe to Senior Police Operations Aide in the Police Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0774 to appoint Samantha Naraho to Recreation Program Coordinator in the Parks Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0781 to appoint Angelica Yamarillo Ortiz to the Office Assistant Spanish-speaking position in Public Safety.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0715, a notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of 21 Malin Drive in the hamlet of Shinnecock Hills, New York, and to amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property. Did I say co-sponsored by the entire board? It
Second.
is. All in favor? Aye. Town Board Resolution 2026-0743, notice of public hearing to consider a request to extinguish a town-owned development right to allow conversion of a town landmark to an accessory carriage house dwelling at 533 David White's Lane in North Sea.
Second.
All in favor?
Skip
Aye.
805.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0746, co-sponsored by the entire board, a notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of 135 Windmill Lane in the village of Southampton,
Second.
and to amend the CPF project plan and the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 20, it's the mumbling, what's happening?
Hey, Jim, we can't hear you down here.
Is there a problem?
That was saying we thought we skipped resolution number 805?
Well, if we did, we better
didn't see
make sure
that.
we did it now,
Which one?
If we skip something, Cindy will tell us.
because we'll have to.
We did? Oh.
No.
What page?
There is no.
Forget about it.
No, there is no.
It's good. No, there's no 805. We're good.
Okay, did we skip a resolution? Because
No.
I didn't,
No.
I didn't miss
No.
one, but
It's
if,
on the agenda online, in the actual program.
Lord.
I think we
Really?
removed it, in agenda review.
Ooh,
There was a,
another mystery.
Potentially.
What was it?
I don't know. That's the only reason why I could think it would be on the draft and not on this.
Thank you, Kevin.
No, that's what you
Yes.
Because he
submitted.
sees it, but we don't,
Kevin said.
so.
I didn't say that, but I never said it.
We never did it. I don't know how it got
I've been
up
flipping
there.
page by page and I have,
Wait, believe me, I-
Sunday would have yelled at
Take
us.
that down.
We're not, right. We're not, that's, we're not acting on that. That's not,
okay.
yeah.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0757, By May Mulaney, May's first resolution. Road review application for 14 Locust Drive, Suffolk County tax map number is indicated, situated at Noyak, is accepted. All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2026-0758, road review application for 151/152 CSP LLC, Suffolk County tax map number is indicated, situated at Shinnecock Hills, is accepted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and then we have the, oh no,
Walks on.
I think I lost my little ones. Thank you.
Oh, you sure?
And then we have the walk-ons. Town Board Resolution 2026-0789 to authorize the supervisor to execute an intermunicipal cooperation agreement with the County of Suffolk in the connection with the 2026 U.S. Open Golf Championship at Shinnecock Hills Golf Course.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2026-0791, which is the warrant number 8, capital number 8, CPF number 8 of April 28th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 792 of 2026, co-sponsored with Supervisor Moore and Councilman Pell. Amend Resolution 0556 of 1997, waiver of beach
Good
permit
year.
fees for fire and ambulance volunteers.
May I be added to that?
You're born?
No.
I would
Great
like,
year, though.
I would like to be added as well.
The whole board, sponsored
Okay.
by the whole board.
Which is
Who is
great,
the second?
That fills it
I
out.
was.
Okay.
which is, they really do deserve,
1997.
this is, just something we can do to say thank you. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One more.
Okay.
And that will, we have defined, because I know certain departments define lifetime members as different, number of years served. So we, because that was always a sticking point on it, but we, with doing this, we defined it in our code as 20 years for this purpose, and then they'll be eligible. So they'll be on the roster with everybody every year. Get their permits.
Go into retirement.
It kind of, you see there's 50 years of service, you think at year 51, when you retire, you shouldn't get a permit anymore, I mean.
That doesn't seem quite.
Thank you for your 50 years, get out.
Right. We were in Flanders the other night, and they had 55-year
Yeah.
Wow.
service.
And the two gentlemen that got 55 years of service were the two top responders for the year,
Wow.
so that was pretty
That's
amazing.
amazing.
They have time.
That they're still bringing it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, does anybody else have any other comments then?
We were supposed to give
Nope.
two things out to Rose Walker and
Oh,
Brian.
we're gonna
Brian-
give some certificates of
certificate.
appreciation, right?
Brian's away on vacation, and Paul's Walker had a call this morning. He jumped off the fire truck and hurt himself, so
Oh,
he was in
no.
in the doctor's office all day.
I hope it's not too serious.
No,
Yeah,
thinks
he'll
he
be okay?
ripped the muscle in his leg.
Oh, boy. Well, when he's back up and about,
Yes.
give him his certificates. All right, then. Well, if that's all there is, then I move to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.